All right, end of November stats. So stay tuned. I'm going to cover a lot of ground with the end of November stats as we head into almost the end of 2022. Stay tuned. Okay, all right, let's start with our local stats and information as we end November 2022. In general, properties that are priced really well are actually still selling pretty quickly, and in some cases, multiple offers. Now, that's not really the norm anymore, but again, if you're priced well, it will move, especially ones that have the views or that are especially move-in ready and or furnished. Sales in our local market are down 24.3% from this time last year, but sales are up 22.1% compared to last month, being September. Interesting stuff. Inventory in a nutshell. If I had to summarize this whole thing, you don't even want to watch the rest of the video, I would say that supply is still down compared to demand. So overall, it's still a seller's market, but the buyers have more leverage, so to speak. So we're not seeing like the no inspections or, things of that nature. We are inching more toward like a normal market because inventory is slightly up. We're not really seeing too much of a difference in the market because it's ever so slightly, but we are getting closer to like 2018, 2019 numbers because we all know what happened after that. Like 2020, the markets exploded. So we are not seeing reductions in median prices. As a matter of fact, in the Sarasota, Southwest Florida markets, values are still going up when you compare them from a year ago. Month to month numbers are a little interesting. So I would say overall inching, like I said, toward a much more healthy market. So we are at about a 2.2 month level of inventory, still just inching up a little because the last time we talked it was 2.1 months inventory. So just a very slight change there. Now let's switch over to the market trends for just for Longboat Key as a comparison. Longboat Key single family homes. The median sales price in October of 2022 was $2 million, down from over 10% from the previous month, which was 2.25. Longboat Key is sort of its own animal. So when you're looking at stats, you really need to take out the barrier islands from the normal, well, from the Sarasota mainland stats, because Longboat, Lido, Key, the barrier islands are just their own entity kind of. So you really have to know your market when you're advising. That's why I wanted to compare just for something different. So, the median sales price at 2 million, I remember it being, I want to say within the last 10 years or so, even 5 years, it was much lower. I want to say in the 700 range on average. Now this is median, so it's 2 million. Interesting stuff. Let's see. Oh, October 2022, of course, average sale price was at its highest level compared to this time last year. So again, this just shows you year after year that the prices have been going up in this market. We still have increased population here in Sarasota. Now, that's not the case for all of Florida. So that is helping with the supply and demand. That shows you the demand is so high to be in Sarasota County, especially. Average days on market. Now, that went up. So days on market for October 22 was 66 days, a huge increase in average days on the market. Okay. Compared to October 2021. Now this is just Longboat Key. So again, this is more of the luxury market, up from 61 days on the market. Okay, switching to the national stats and predictions. Actually, I attended, it was a Zoom meeting with Dr. Yun, who is the chief economist and senior VP of research at the National Association of Realtors. I had to write that down because it's a long title. And you've probably heard, anytime you hear predictions, you hear his name, Dr. Yun. And so he's pretty good about, forecasting what is to come in the national and sort of Florida markets. he does feel that rates have topped out at 7%. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if you know that, but I'm feeling like now that we're seeing some more stability with mortgage rates, because it was kind of like up and down, and huge increases. So hopefully he's right. Hopefully the rates will be this, that'll be the most they will be. So time will tell. And a normal market, just to keep in mind too, in a normal market, 6% was the norm. Okay. And so for it to be 7%, yes, it's on the high side. People are still buying and selling. We are seeing a lot of cash. So just something to keep in mind. And again, I mentioned this in the last video, sellers can also help buy down the rate. I think that's something that sellers understand. And if that means putting a transaction together for the sellers, then it's a brilliant thing and it works for both parties. Now, in going back in history, 10% mortgages back in the 1990s was commonplace. So, we really have to look at history and feel like, the last 2 years were absolutely not normal at all. So we can't feel like that's what we can expect to come back to. I honestly don't know that will ever happen again, just my personal take on things. And also, interestingly enough, the required income went from a median of 65,000 to about 80,000, which is not enough to keep up with the increases in pricing. So hopefully things will adjust. Sellers will probably come to a realization that they might need to, be more relaxed on negotiating their prices, be creative in the terms that we come together with on these transactions. And that's where an agent comes in, because we have boots on the ground. We know exactly what needs to be done, or they give you ideas of how to keep a transaction together, put a transaction together, and then go to closing. In terms of inventory, when we had a foreclosure crisis, 4 million homes were on the market, and now we only have 1 million. This is, of course, the national average, right? So during the foreclosure crisis, 4 times as much inventory. We have nothing close to that. Not to mention, first of all, inventory is way, way down. Secondly, the equity in people's homes is way, way up, because we didn't have the zero down loans and all these crazy programs. So there's so many different factors when people say like we might have a crash. It's just not, like, the stats are not reflective of that being an imminent situation as far as a crash. I think it's just becoming more normal, and it just feels dramatic because of what we've been through in the last 2 years. And moving on, let's see. And last but not least, luxury trends. 80% of US-based high net worth consumers agree that real estate is a safe investment, and over 1/3 agree that it is the safest investment one can make when compared to stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, and pensions, according to the Trend Report. And of course, I agree. Real estate, for most of the wealth in our country, they say that of the wealthy, most of their wealth is attached to real estate. And I always am going to say long-term mindset when it comes to real estate, okay? And I could not agree more. So that is pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't think I had anything. Oh, I wanted to showcase 2 examples of how the market is in terms of pricing, supply, demand. Here's 2 examples. I had one client who wanted to see, it was a villa on Longboat Key, priced just under $1 million. She had it priced really well. It showed really well. Of course, great location, behind the gates. And I said to my client, I said, we should probably see this on Saturday. And they couldn't make it to Saturday. Well, we had scheduled it to show it on Monday. By Monday, she had a fully executed contract, so we missed out on that. So, and that was only on the market for less than a week. So that is a really good example. Another one, the second one, I was out with clients this past weekend. They had 5 properties on their list. One of them went pending. One of them we couldn't see because there's a renter, but neither here nor there. One of them went pending, and he's disappointed, but like, sellers, when they go under contract, they're not inclined to still have showings. And not to mention, buyers are less inclined to want to see the pending properties, just generally speaking. Not to say that we can't, and sometimes deals fall through, of course. But anyway, those are two real life examples that I hope you found helpful. I know this is a lot of information every single month, but I hope that you found it helpful. And if you're deciding whether to purchase or to sell in this market, I'm happy to be an advisor for you. And thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, all the things. And if you have any questions, click the link below, shaylatwit.com.